Southern Miss and Coastal Carolina finally picked their head coaches. We talk about it next on Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Welcome back to another edition. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. All right, we will get to both head coaches. One was announced, I think, earlier on Thursday. And then, I was heading home from dinner on Thursday. And Ryan Beard was named coach at Coastal Carolina. And I'm going to ask you to let me vent a little bit. It's just an outlet. I just don't get the whole Sharon Moore thing. You got to help me understand it because I don't get it. I just don't. I don't get it. It could be very simple, but I don't get it. I could tie it into Sunbelt very easily and watch me do that. All right. So Southern Miss promotes Blake Anderson. I presume they did a once-over. This is not much of a surprise, as when he got hired as the offensive coordinator, everyone was like, well, if Charles Huff leaves, we got Blake Anderson. And so Blake has been the coach. Obviously, Southern Miss fans know this. He was there, running backs coach and offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, 2008 through 2011. Then he went to North Carolina, came back to the Sun Belt, did a great job for Arkansas State until the end when his wife got sick, moved out to Utah State, and I guess did not coach in 2024, came back to Southern Miss this past season, and now is your head coach. All right. I'm a big Blake Anderson fan, probably because he came on my radio show more than a couple of times. And we'll hopefully get him here, on Locked On. Could be in the studios back in Central New York. We're going home prior to Christmas, so we'll see. And all these Sunbelt teams have a lot of games all before Christmas, and so we'll see when we can get them on. But I think Blake Anderson is a solid choice. I don't know if it's the conservative choice. Seems to be the easy choice. All right, that you're going to be able to keep the players that want to stay. You can keep the recruits that maybe wanted to stay. I don't know if Charles Huff is going to take some recruits to Memphis. You figure he may take a couple and maybe take a couple players with him. I did see Braylon Braxton said we're going to finish the job here. Good for him. That we're going to finish the job here, whether Coach Huff was here or not. We're going to go out and try and win this ball game. They obviously they got a bad taste in their mouth with the way the season ended, right? It was still a really solid season. You go from 1-11 to 7-5. And we've talked about this before, but, meander is probably the right word. So if you start out 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, 5-3, 5-4, 6-4, 6-5, 7-5, you've had a pretty good season, which is probably the way most people thought it was going to go, except they went out to a 7-2 start and they finished 7-5. And people could have forgotten a little bit about the blowouts if you take care of business at home against Troy, and they didn't do that. So good for Braylon Braxton leading the team to try and go out and do this. Now, Blake Anderson has been through a ton. All right. I think he lost a son. I thought that was the case. He lost his wife. That was very public. Stuff happened out in Utah State. You can go look that up. So he's gotten a couple of opportunities here. That is for sure. And it has not been an easy road. I mean, I think he, has his religious beliefs, and I think he leans on that, and he's needed to. He has had a tough go of it. Forget what Sharon Moore has done. Coaches get hired to get fired. They know that, right? That eventually you're gonna, the AD is gonna be new, the president's gonna be new. I'm gonna have one bad season, or in James Franklin's career, or he had 3 bad weeks, and all of a sudden a decade is out the door. So that. So he's had a tough go of it. It appeared Southern Miss fans were fine with that. Probably didn't see as much as I would have liked because it was just working. But that's a solid choice. Okay, Blake Anderson can coach football. Utah State had a go of it as well. So he can coach football. Just like Billy Napier probably is not Mr. Personality compared to Bob Chesney. Blake probably isn't. He does have a good sense of humor, actually. There is a he's going to be different than Charles Huff, but there's a joke out there if you go back when he was he went to go speak at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, I think. And obviously most of those speakers, are going to be pumping up for Arkansas. And he told a great joke, and it's hilarious. It's very funny. All right. I think somebody saw the punchline coming and started laughing before he told the punchline. I won't ruin it, but you can go find it. It's a very funny joke. So he does have a sense of humor. All right. He does. Might not be as flashy as Charles Huff. He may not be dancing on the sidelines like Charles Huff. We'll see if he's calling the plays. Does he relegate that to somebody else? We'll find that out as well. But I think it's a solid choice for Southern Miss. And I think what Charles Huff did was, turn the program around in 1 year. All right. We haven't talked about it, but the Fighting Will Halls are back, right? He got the job at Tulane, and that's interesting. All right. I'm not going to say anything bad about Will because I like Will. I've known Will for a long time. But to go from where he was to go from where he is pretty good. There are not too many people that do 1-11 in 2024 and are a head coach at a bigger program in 2026. That doesn't happen too often, but he's back. But I think if Blake can, you got to get the quarterback. It's much easier said than done, right? Napier's got to get the quarterback. I don't know if Alonzo Barnett III has eligibility. If he's coming back, he's got to get his JMU. Desmo's got to keep his quarterbacks upright for the Cajuns. And Blake Anderson's got to get his quarterback right at Southern Miss. All right. We'll see if they change the defense. I am not a particular fan of the 4-2-5. To me, that is, we're trying to keep everything in front of us, and we're not necessarily going to attack. It worked well for the first 9 weeks. Let's be honest. It did. And then they stopped turning the ball over. The opponent stopped turning the ball over, whether that was forced or luck, whatever way you want to talk about it. They stopped coming. And all of a sudden, this really loose defense got taken advantage of. So we'll see if they make changes to that and what coaches are going to change, what coaches are going with Huff, and what players. But I think that's a solid hire. Let me know what you guys think. I think Southern Miss did. I think they did. I think they went through, let's say they went through the motions. I think they did. All of this was pretty public compared to maybe what happened last time, although that was public. Charles Huff was denying it. I have a feeling that he was pretty honest. Is it Jeremy McNeil, right? Is the AD with, let's see here. McLean, Jeremy McLean. All right. Sorry about that. Jeremy McLean. As I think Bob Chesney was with Matt Rowan. And so, we talked about that over the last couple of episodes. I think yesterday's episode that, Bob and Matt were on the same page. Like, I'm getting some phone calls. You probably should have a list ready. And that's probably what happened, it was either following the season or, right before the Sun Belt champion or right before the Troy ball game. Hey, I'm getting some phone calls. We'll see what happens. right? And I can tell you, I was on the field with Dominic Grassetti with Sunbelt Syndicate, and was it Brad Baker from LSU was sticking around. He wasn't going to Tulane, and the Kennesaw Jerry Mack wasn't getting the Memphis job, or hadn't yet, put it that way. And we're thinking, oh, this is wide open. Huff's back into play. So I think it's a good hire by Southern Miss. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's a solid hire. It's good to have. I mean, we got we got Blake Anderson is back in the Sun Belt. We have Billy Napier back in the Sun Belt. Mark Hudspeth coming back to the Sun Belt. All right, let's take a timeout. That segment went a little bit long. Coastal Carolina hires Missouri State's head coach, and they're playing Arkansas State in a bowl game. We'll talk about that right after this. Right after I tell you about Rougiet and FanDuel. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life. It just doesn't switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rougiet Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougiet Ready is the next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rougiet Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in one mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. You connect with a board-certified doctor online, and everything ships discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average, so you can stay present, confident, and in control when the moment is right. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to Rougiet.com/LockedOnCollege. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. And FanDuel. The NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. Cincinnati and Buffalo. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. Still surprised that the Patriots were underdogs at home to a team they've already beaten once in the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills needed not one, but 2 miracles to beat Cincinnati last week. Find that very interesting. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Bills are still 1.5-point favorites in Foxborough this weekend. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. Ryan Beard has been named the head coach of your Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. I saw that. Officially came out Thursday evening. When I say officially, I mean the Coastal Carolina Twitter/X feed. Saw that name bandied about in the morning, tried to confirm it in terms of looking at other feeds, had not been confirmed yet. But it was confirmed by Thursday evening. All right. And Coastal Carolina doing the confirming. Ryan Beard is a young coach. He has moved up fast. He is 36 years of age. God. I was a sophomore in college when he was born. He's from this area. He's from just south of us, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and played at home as a defensive back for his hometown Hilltoppers, Western Kentucky. He went to Bowling Green High School. Reached this 3A championship twice. And he has moved up quickly. Western Kentucky for a couple of years. 1 year as, what do they call it at the, let's see here, at Louisville. Defensive quality control coach. Then Northern Michigan, which I'm not sure I knew they had. There's a school named Northern Michigan. He was there for 1 year, was going to be there a second year, but he went back to Western Kentucky to coach the defensive backs. Became a Louisville assistant for a couple of years. Was a special teams and safeties coach for Central Michigan. Then he came to Missouri State in 20, so that's the COVID year. He was defensive coordinator and safeties, and then he's been the head coach for the last 3 seasons. He is 19-16 overall. In his first year, they went 4-7, 3-5 in the conference. In 24, they went 8-4, 6-2 in the conference, tied for 4th, and 7-5 overall this year, 5-3 in the conference. So he does have some experience, I would say, just off the paper, and I don't know anything about Ryan Beard. Usually you have a really good season in there somewhere before you do get the higher paying job. Do we want to take a wild guess on what he was making at? I mean, is Missouri State even paying $500,000? Ryan Beard salary, Missouri State. All right. I was pretty close. All right. Excuse me. His reported set would replace Tim Beck. Beard had a base salary of $450,000 in 2025, among the lowest paid of FBS head coaches. All right. Beck apparently had a salary of $1.124. Now we know why he left. All right. I thought I saw, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, this was put out there. Napier's guarantee is somewhere in the $800,000 range. Don't forget, he's getting whatever left over from Florida, although Florida saves about $800,000 a year. All right. So if it's 5 years, whatever it is, or $5 million for 3 more years, $15 million minus 2.4. But that doesn't include the bonuses or incentives. That's basically guaranteed. So we're figuring that somewhere along the way, Ryan Beard is, close to 750, 800, 850. I don't know if he's getting the Tim Beck money. Remember, Tim Beck was an offensive coordinator at NC State. That probably pays more than the head coach at Missouri State. But he's young. That's interesting. The two guys, I'm not sure Blake Anderson or Billy Napier are necessarily, going to hit it out of the ballpark and leave. All right. Especially Napier. I mean, it only takes one, right? But remember, he's still going to have that lack of phrase stench on him from Florida. All right. I think he's a good coach. Things then go his way in Florida. I'm not making excuses outside. He just never got the quarterback right, and that's his responsibility. Blake Anderson is not young. Well, he's youngish. He's going to turn 57 sometime in spring ball. All right. I'm not sure that, you can get a good gig, and these are good gigs. You're making high 6 figures, low 7-figure salaries. They're good gigs. Now, here's the problem in the Sun Belt, just like it is everywhere, right? Tim Beck and Coastal Carolina going to 3 bowl games, but they were contenders in the East, and it wasn't good enough. All right. Now, you got a new AD and a new president, so that's going to be a thing as well. All right. Same thing with Billy Napier, right? If JMU has good seasons and they're going, 8-4 and 9-3 and finishing second and third, that's good. It's not JMU good. But remember, they all think they should be winning. Georgia Southern thinks they should be winning. App State thinks they should be winning. ODU thinks they should be winning. So it's tough to do that, right? Over in the West, the Cajuns think they should be winning. South Alabama thinks they should be winning. And Southern Miss thinks they should be winning, all right? All these teams, although not so much South Alabama until recently, have a pretty good tradition. And the Cajuns are in the middle of 8 straight years going to a bowl game. It's mind-boggling. And so we'll see, Ryan Beard could be the opposite of Napier and Anderson. You have 1 or 2 good years. I mean, he could pull a Charles Huff. Why can't they contend next year in the East? And all of a sudden, he goes 10-2 or 9-3, and boom, he's going from 850 to $1 million to 4 to 5. That's what happens. All right. So we shall see. All right. Again, he's had a little bit of success. He's got a winning record, turned a program around. But it's not like he had that one huge season where, he's contending for the conference or playing for a conference title or something along those lines. All right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know. Let's see what Missouri State was. We can check that out, I guess. Let's see. This is the 2025 Missouri State. Let's see here. Missouri State University. Remember that. This is going to be the click on the, they're not going to go that way. Game summaries. No schedule. Got the 2025 deal, but it's going to take me too long to figure out where to go for the for more a complete record. But we do welcome Ryan Beard into the conference. All right, a little. Obviously, Tim Beck was more experienced in terms of overall coaching, and yet never had been a head coach. Ryan Beard has been a head coach for 3 years. So that's something he doesn't have to learn. And here's the other thing about being the head coach. These last 3 years, he has adjusted to the portal and NIL. All right, he's learning on the fly, whereas Tim Beck and others that had been doing it one way for so many years had to do a 180. Well, Ryan Beard's only coached under these circumstances as a head coach anyways. So he should be well aware of what's going into it. And again, you would think that Conway, South Carolina would be a nice place to get some transfers in. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know a lot about Ryan Beard, but that's what I do know about him. And I think that's a pretty solid hire as well, except, again, little experience. Head coach. He does have head coaching experience, but didn't have that breakout season, so to speak, just the way I see it. All right. All right. We're going to go off on a tangent. Bear with me. This is where I vent. This is where I get my outlet from. I will bring it back to the Sun Belt. We'll do that quickly. But what was Sharon Moore thinking? All right. I know we don't have the whole story, but I if you guys can help me understand other than the obvious, I don't get it. And I see it from a different point of view than others. I mentioned that on the this morning's preview. All right. We'll talk about that when we get back, right after I tell you about Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories, because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Your grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos is going to love this gift. Endless photos, endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app. Add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels thoughtful the moment it's open, and packaging comes gift ready. No price tag, no wrapping needed. What a huge win. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used, not forgotten in a drawer. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code COLLEGE. The deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt. Your teams every day. Let's see if this doesn't give us the straw noise. Still got that cough. All right, excuse me. All right, so the big news that happened on Wednesday evening, was Michigan head coach Sharon Moore getting fired. And I just don't get it. I certainly know why he was fired. That's not what I don't get. On the surface, this man has ruined numerous lives, starting with his own, his family's, her life, although her being an adult probably should take some responsibility, whoever her is. And this is the way I see it. This is where it comes back that sometimes I see things differently than everybody else. 95, if not 99% of the time when coaches get fired, head coaches, they get millions of dollars of payout, right? Like Billy Napier said, I could have just sat on the couch this year. I could have become an analyst. I could have gone to the NFL. I did not have to work. I have enough money where I don't have to work. So those guys are all taken care of. Like they don't have to work ever again. You know, if he's sitting on $15 or $20 million, he's good to go, right? It's the assistants and the support staff and the people that are making. Now, the offensive coordinator, at Michigan, and the defensive coordinator are probably making seven figures. But it's those position coaches. It's the support staff to do the recruiting. It's all that stuff. People are making $50,000 to $100,000. And they rely on the head coach. Their wagon is hitched to the head coach. Now, obviously, some of these people can move up, right? I know people who follow Billy Napier. All right, they move up. We'll see if they follow him to Harrisonburg. I don't know. You're in a position coach at one spot, but the coordinator spot is taken. You may have to take a step back to become a coordinator, or you move up, whatever way it is. Usually more money is involved, or at least a bigger position. That may be a different story. So that it gets, people move around all the time. But when a head coach of a major institution, and we're going to find out a lot more about this, because apparently this was the third investigation into this. All right. And they're coming out on Thursday night that said Ward Manuel is still going to be the AD. And I heard someone give an interview who covers the team. This was coming whether they beat Ohio State or not. A lot of people think this only came out after losses. David Cohn from Crane & Company mentioned that, former Michigan quarterback. But apparently someone had a report that the boosters knew what was happening. If you think the boosters know what's happening, don't you think the athletic department knows what's happening? You got to be your head in the sand. If the boosters know what's going on, this is a young man. We're talking about Ryan Baird, who's 36. Sharon Moore is 39. And this could be a me problem. I'm free to admit that. I did not know who Sharon Moore was until he's filling in for Jim Harbaugh. Didn't know who he was. Harbaugh got suspended for the improper benefits during COVID or whatever the case was. And Sharon Moore filled in for him for those, 3-4 games? Then Harbaugh takes off with the national championship, goes to the Chargers. Sharon Moore gets the gig. I mean, that is as big a slide in as you're going to get. He is the coach of the University of Michigan. That's a top 10 job in the country, period. And I heard Chris Canty say, it was interesting. He's like, people, and don't think I'm naive enough to not think that what his illicit affair doesn't happen all the time. But Chris Canty on Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen and Michelle Smallman was talking about he's unhireable because of the potential physical issue and the arrest that happened. Not only is he unhireable, but who's going to work for him? Who's going to trust Sharon Moore? Why would you hitch your wagon to him? He's got to hire a staff. Who's going to go to work for him? I'm trusting you to do the right thing. We may not win. We hope we're going to win. We think we could win. That's different. Who's going to do that? Now, somewhere along the way, you know this is going to happen. All right. It may just be the NFL. Harbaugh may do it. He's going to get a second chance. I'm a big believer in second chances. I really am. All right. I don't think he should be coaching kids anytime soon. I'm still befuddled that DJ Durkin is coaching at Auburn, but that's another situation. All right. But someone gave him a second chance. You can say someone gave Hugh Freeze a second chance, gave him a second and third chance. So these guys all get second chances. All right. And he will. I'm not sure he's going to be on the field coaching kids anytime soon, but he'll get a second chance. But you would never go to work for him. You would never trust him to do the right thing. And here's what I don't understand. He did all of this for little sex, and that's it. That boggles my mind. It really does. It really does. I'm not going to justify it, but I can understand it more. You win a ball game, you may be drinking some beers, you're exhausted, you're jubilant. One of those, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type moment. Doesn't justify it, doesn't make it right, but at least I can get my mind around that. Happens one time, it was a mistake, we got caught up in the emotional thing, alcohol involved, okay. But you're having an affair? You don't think he knows that's wrong? Everybody knows that's wrong. Maybe even wrong, according to Michigan, whether he's married or not. That's a different situation. Goodness. So I don't get it. Michigan has a lot of explaining to do that you waited until what? How many times was he being investigated for? And who's doing the CYA-ing around here? I don't understand any of it. Like Michigan, it appears Michigan was trying because they had gotten away with some wins. Like maybe they could push it under the rug if they beat Ohio State. Not exactly doing the right thing. So again, Ward Manuel appears to be safe as of this recording. Things change fast. But if you guys can explain to me what Sharon Moore was thinking, I just don't get it. We have definitely two different mindsets. Obviously he thought he could get away with it. All right. And apparently this was not, this was a well-known, I'd say secret to me, but everybody in the media seemed to know about it. Everybody who covers covers college sports, and David Cohen seemed to know about it. Josh Pate seemed to know about it. Everybody, if those guys know about it, a lot more people know about it. All right. So I don't get it. Why you would put so many people at risk because of that. It's unbelievable, and hopefully the young lady learns from it. I presume, she's going to get, someone's going to have to, family friend's going to have to hire her. How is she going to get a job? I'm not going to say her name. It didn't take long for that name to get online, but I know everyone's going to blame him. If she's an adult and not some student, she's got a responsibility there too. Let's not, as far as I know, she's an adult, young adult, but she's an adult. All right. Everybody knows it's wrong. No, I just don't get it. And you can tie this back. You want to tie it back to the Sun Belt? And obviously, though, Southern Miss and Coastal Carolina were way down the line with their candidates. But what if this had come out? I'll rephrase this. What if they had just fired Sharon Moore right after the Ohio State loss and none of this stuff had come out? we're just going to, thanks for coming. We're done. We're moving on. And none of this stuff came out, but he was just a football coach who had a little bit of success at Michigan. You don't think he would have been out for some G5 jobs? You don't think Southern Miss would have been going, maybe we should go get Jerome Moore. Maybe at least talk to him. Let's find out about Coastal Carolina. You think Missouri State is going to go out and hire Sharon Moore now? Not a chance. He's, as Chris Canty said, he's unhireable. But you can't even work for the man. Why would you even want to work for the man? We'll see. There's probably much more to this story. It is salacious, to say the least. And it's one of those things where we say this all the time. It's unbelievable. It really is. To me, it is unbelievable. We use those words all the time, that word all the time. This one kind of is. I know stuff like that goes on all the time, more than we'd like to think. But it just doesn't. It boggles the mind how many people he's responsible for. Not only the players, but the coaches and the support staff. It is a multi-million-dollar operation. And because he wanted to get some, he put all that at risk. That just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Well, I thank you. It was a little bit of a rant. Again, not much on the Sunbelt side of that last part, but it is what it is. This is my weight event, my outlet. Okay. But we talked Southern Miss and Coastal Carolina. Maybe I'll come back and do a Saturday morning preview for the college basketball. Maybe we'll just do a little bonus episode for college basketball, since we didn't really do that in this one. We're already approaching 40 minutes. All right. So I do appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think of the hires. I think it's pretty solid hires. Blake Anderson has a ton of experience and is back at Southern Miss. He was the OC this year, and he's getting another chance to be a head coach. And he's been successful as a head coach. Ryan Beard, very young, has had a little bit of experience as a head coach and a little bit of success, but didn't have that breakout year where you were thinking he's going to get promoted. But he gets one, and we'll see if he can take advantage of it at Coastal Carolina. And, of course, we will reach out to both schools to see if we can get Blake back on. All right. I've known Blake for a while and never met Ryan Beard. So we'll see if we can get them. All right. But I could probably just go to somewhere between Christmas and New Year's. I can just go down the street and see if he comes back home for a little bit. Go do it at his parents' place. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're almost at 2,800 subscribers. We have gone bonkers over the last couple of week or so, mostly because of JMU, and we're going to lean into that all next week. You can bet on that. We'll have a crossover edition with the Locked On Oregon host, Spencer McLaughlin. We will do that next week as well. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. All right. We're going to get a little winter storm here tonight, and then we're going to get real cold on Saturday and Sunday. So please be safe, and we'll talk to you again probably on Saturday to do a quick basketball preview. All right. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.